This breaking.
Oh, no.
The top U.S. General Mark Milley, several members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff are quarantining after a top Coast Guard official tested positive for coronavirus.
Oh, my God.
This is several U.S. defense officials tell CNN. So, I mean...
Here we go.
It's just sheer insanity, right? I mean, that's not terribly surprising about any of this. I mean, people should just listen to what's going on at the White House.
Emptiness?
Well, I mean, everybody has. I mean, let's just go through some of the quotes, shall we?
Yeah.
Just from what we're getting from the White House. This is upon Donald Trump's return to the White House. This comes from the Washington Post. The West Wing is a total ghost town, said one official who worked at the White House on Monday. The official, like others, spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss internal dynamics in the building. This is just an array of quotes coming out of the White House, where our government is run. Multiple sources told ABC News that there is a full-blown freakout, that's in quotes, in the administration waiting to see who will be next to test positive, with aides not trusting each other and some trying to find ways to avoid coming into work at all. Sounds sort of like the Majority Report offices. Because we've had, this is a quote, because we've had some cases in the West Wing, more people are working remotely today than in previous days. And that's the way the process is supposed to work. That was according to White House Deputy Press Secretary Brian Morgenstern on Monday afternoon. Of course, there were two staffers in his office that had COVID. Sources added there weren't many staffers in the West Wing Monday afternoon, and there was a lot of regret for not taking the coronavirus more seriously by not wearing masks and social distancing regularly.
Get out.
You know, it's one of those areas where regret's just not going to pay off for you, folks. Can't go backwards when it comes to coronavirus. This is Axios.
This music.
It's insane that he would return to the White House and jeopardize his staff's health when we are still learning of new cases among senior staff. This place is a cesspool. That's a White House source. He was so concerned with preventing embarrassing stories that he exposed thousands of his own staff and supporters to a deadly virus. He's kept us in the dark, and now our spouses and kids have to pay the price. It's just selfish.
Wow, that was a quote?
That's a quote.
That was like the White House chef, who's just the same person always.
Well,
I can't imagine that's a Trump loyalist.
Let me just pause it and put the music back on in a second, because I will tell you this. What that guy doesn't realize, or that woman, whoever gave that quote, look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Because while he's doing this to you now, your enterprise was doing this to the entire country. The White House resident staff members are largely Black and Latino and often elderly. This again from Axios. This is according to Kate Anderson Brower, who compiled a trove of interviews with former staffers for her book, The Residents. The Washington Post reports there are about 90 full-time ushers, butlers, housekeepers, valets, and florists, and engineers and cooks. 2 of those cleaning staff already diagnosed positive. White House correspondent Michael Shear, who tested positive, tells Axios, "My wife now has tested positive for COVID. The collateral damage is going to be pretty significant, I think." And in the coup de grace, Gabriel Sherman reports, according to sources, Don Jr. has told friends that he tried lobbying Ivanka Trump, Eric Trump, and Jared Kushner to convince the president that he needs to stop acting unstable. Don Jr. has said he wants to stage an intervention, but Jared and Ivanka keep telling him telling Trump how great he's doing. One of the sources told Gabriel Sherman, Don Jr. thinks Trump is acting crazy.
The Don Jr. who's had meltdowns on cable news himself? Like if that guy...
To lift a construction of a joke from Eddie Driscoll, who I don't know if people know is a comedian or was. Don Jr. says you've got a problem. You know you've got a problem. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, your roundup of all the quotes coming out of the White House in the wake of Donald Trump huffing and puffing his way up the steps and essentially blowing everyone in the White House away.
Sam, I mean, what's so crazy to me about this, you already had him. Okay, so Manafort, he's already in a predicament with this campaign because he doesn't have his A team. He's like on his F team because the first round went to jail, got indicted. Then like the second round quit, got fired. The third round quit, got fired. Fourth round, fifth, whatever.
Which is the round where he is ended up committed because he was threatening. He assaulted his wife and had a gun. Which round is that?
D.
That guy, I think, is still like in some type of recovery. But
yeah, that was insane. So here, the White House, the campaign, and now everyone's testing positive. We're like, is anybody steering this ship? The White House and the campaign. I mean, I think they're relying almost exclusively on.
Yeah.
What was that?
Stepien is tested positive. We don't know how well he's doing. He could be fine.
Right. They could be perfectly fine. But is the campaign, I mean, with Biden up so much, and who knows what that means. I mean, he's up in swing states too, but listen, after 2016, I think we're all cautious about that.
Right.
Is it just relying on the GOP's sophisticated voter suppression strategies that they've tested a million different ways? Is that all this campaign is just the party itself running voter suppression?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's I think that's been the strategy for a while now, right? I think they have probably, I would imagine, unless they're just even incompetent at being horrible people, they have isolated the 3 or 4, maybe 5 states that they think there's the best chance for them, if things go sideways with the ballots, for them to wage a court battle, to slow up the electors, whatever it is. And I think that moves forward, right? And
that's it.
They're still.
I mean, that's literally it at this point. Even the ads. I mean, I was looking at some of the swing district ads, the D-Trip, the red to blue states, and some of the Republicans that they're running against are running like full conspiracy theorist Q, like crazy in swing districts. What's the strategy there for Republicans? They're not going to win on that message. Maybe in R plus 17 districts, but not against like Tom O'Halloran or any of these.
I mean, I think I think maybe they might be looking and seeing that they're losing even their base support, or they need that, or I don't know. I mean, like when you look at these polls, right? I mean, just in terms of the state polls, right? So you got a Biden up 16 points nationally. That doesn't. That's good, but it's not relevant really in many respects. I don't think there's anybody for months or maybe years who has thought that Donald Trump is going to win the national vote.
Right.
But I do think that there is value in, I've said this multiple times, in Joe Biden racking up the votes against him. What kind of value? Impossible to quantify. Mm-hmm. Greater than 0. Let's put it that way. Could be 0.00001, percent value, but it's greater than 0. In Pennsylvania, he's up by 5 points. He is up by 6 points in Wisconsin. And maybe even more importantly, he's at 50% in both those states. So there's not, there may be 6% undecided, but even if all the undecideds break for Trump, he's over 50%. That's really important, as you know. This is up until October 5th. So these polls run through, post-debate and also, maybe not Trump driving around in his limo, but Florida tied 47 to 47%. Arizona tied more or less, Biden 47, Trump 46. Michigan, Biden 49%, Trump 44%. Again, you're very close to 50%, which is where you desperately want to be, I think. North Carolina, 47% to 47%.
Wow.
So what this, suggests is that these things tend to break one way or the other, right? And if they break for Biden, we're looking at like just a massive landslide in these states. But it could break for Trump, or it's possible that we get a couple of states that break for him and a couple that don't. And in those couple that don't, they still are very close. And then it becomes a court case, or then it becomes, the Proud Boys stopping account. There's nothing. I mean, I've never been involved in a run up to an election where the polling seemed so largely irrelevant. I mean, maybe that's an overstatement, but I mean, it's just, I include the polls in my stack of stories today because,
because the movement is still a story. Like the story of how that number went beyond 50 is a story. I mean, I actually thought Biden would be it wouldn't be tied in Arizona. That's actually a concern that it's that he's not gaining momentum there, given the Mark Kelly, being so far ahead of McSally, and that is one of the key swing states. I don't know. My concern is it's tight enough. The swing votes are tight enough in some of these key states that there might be enough votes of those silent, embarrassed Trump supporters, those Republicans who just at the end of the day can't stomach voting for a Democrat no matter what because of a million reasons. Right. And even though they hate Trump, even though they might think he's a racist, they're silent supporters. And it's very hard to quantify that with a million other factors like suppression, et cetera.